Chapter 11. It didn't take too much time and effort to subdue Ayane. After that, Shiraishi studied one more thing, the secret soft fist of the Hyuga clan. Ayane handed over to Shiraishi the scrolls of practice methods and theoretical knowledge of the Hyuga clan's secret soft fist, which was not handed down without reservation. Once this kind of betrayal is known to the Hyuga clan, Ayane will undoubtedly be executed. But compared to death, what she is more afraid of now is the dark days that will never see the sun in the future. What's more, in her heart, she has already seen the light in her eyes. Family and village, in her eyes, have become no longer important, even dispensable. So, in the eyes of Ayane, handing over the soft fist of the Hyuga clan to someone who has nothing to do with it is not a betrayal, but a natural act of resistance. Rather, the Hyuga clan is irrelevant to Ayane. Shiraishi understands that although Ayane has developed a dependence and obedience towards herself, he still needs to slowly imprint his own image in her heart more deeply. Ayane, on the other hand, followed his advice and unabashedly expressed her anger and hostility when facing the Hyuga family. As Shiraishi said, when the members of the Hyuga clan saw Ayane's angry and hostile eyes, they just glanced at them lightly and didn't pay much attention. Because Ayane is just one of the Hyuga branches who are hostile to them. There are countless people who are separated from the Hyuga family. Because of this, the more hostile Ayane is to them, the more at ease they will feel. What they are afraid of are those who are separated from the family who hide their hostility. Those are the troublesome guys that the clan should beware of. Everything needs enough strength. The controller of the most powerful force in the shinobi world is the shinobis. There are many sources of shinobi's power. This is what Shiraishi learned from the books in the ninja school library. There are many kinds of books in the library of ninja school, but there are also many books that are not available. For example, the Hyuga clan's secret soft fist, which is not passed on from the Hyuga clan. There are many types of soft fist in the shinobi world, but the soft fist of the Hyuga clan is definitely the strongest soft fist in the ninja world. This made Shiraishi very interested. He found that the soft boxing of the Hyuga clan is actually very similar to Tai Chi, and even many theories are common. But the soft fist scroll that Ayane gave him was actually not the complete version. Because Ayane, who is a member of the branch family, can't get in touch with the core moves of the Hyuga clan's soft fist. The class division of the Hyuga clan is more serious than Shiraishi's imagination. Therefore, Shiraishi can completely understand Ayane's hatred for the Hyuga clan. However, due to the long-term detached dominant position of the clan, the division of the clan just dared not to speak out, and there were even slaves who really took refuge in the clan. This part of the Hyuga family has lost their personal freedom and dignity. They don't think about whether the current tradition of the Hyuga clan is correct, they only care about whether the clan members are satisfied with their service. Take the joy of the clan as joy, and take the anger of the clan as anger. Therefore, Hyuga clan is not just divided into two parts but the branch is also divided into two parts. One of them who serves the main clan wholeheartedly, other one that is hostile and angry towards the main clan. Among them, the position of the main family is as stable as a rock, and the branch family that has been planted as a bird in a cage, poses no threat to them. Shiraishi, do you feel that Ayane seems to have changed a bit? These are Ruri's original words. On the playground, the indifference on Ayane's face was no longer as serious as before, and she was able to talk to people in the class again, talking and laughing. But this is still different from the original Ayane. Because in Ayane's smile, there is always an indelible melancholy and inferiority complex. After all, she has experienced that kind of thing, so it's only natural. Shiraishi, who was flipping over the horizontal bar, jumped off and said indifferently. Ruri nodded. Indeed, the tradition of the Hyuga clan is extremely cruel. Even she, an outsider, couldn't stand it. Speaking of which, Ruri, do you Uchiha clan have this kind of tradition similar to the Hyuga family? Shiraishi seemed to be thinking about something. Ruri rolled her eyes angrily and said, our Uchiha clan doesn't have such rotten rules that look down on people. The corners of Shiraishi's mouth twitched. Ruri's words were not convincing at all. In the class, except for him who can talk to her, most of the boys and girls keep a respectful distance from Ruri. Not only that, Shiraishi has also seen other Uchiha-born students in the ninja school. Although their talents are not as good as Ruri, their attitude towards people is even worse than Ruri. Shut up the Uchiha family, open the Uchiha family, afraid that others will not know that their Uchiha names are the same. In comparison, Ruri is still a relatively low-key one, except that her personality is a bit cold. By the way, let's do that again tonight. Ruri spoke suddenly, her face turned to the other side, her neck turned red. That. Shiraishi blinked in doubt. What is that? That's the one. Ruri's voice suddenly became quieter. Seeing that Shiraishi hadn't spoken for a long time, thinking that Shiraishi was unwilling, Ruri's eyes suddenly became fierce, and her black eyeballs stared at Shiraishi. Don't you want to touch me? Is there someone else? Shiraishi was speechless. I understand. It turned out that she asked him to formulate a suitable scientific exercise program again. After all, it has been nearly a month since the last time. It's just that now Shiraishi feels a little guilty for no reason. It may be an illusion. I'm always with you, how could there be someone else around me? You're overthinking, Ruri. Hearing Shiraishi's weak explanation, Ruri nodded in satisfaction. Your method is very effective. I fought with the Chunin of my family before, and he said that my strength has surpassed most of the genin. According to my growth rate, I can reach the level of the Chunin next year. Hearing what Ruri said, Shiraishi could roughly judge his own strength. It is similar to Ruri, or slightly worse, but not much worse. The best outcome was a tie. It seems that it is still too early to achieve the following goals. Awesome. Boys and girls have a common secret and it is easy to get closer. Shiraishi didn't believe it before, but now he does. You want books on medical ninjutsu? Ruri was perplexed by Shiraishi's request. That's right, can I get it? Shiraishi looked at Ruri longingly. Although there are medical books in the school library, they can't meet Shiraishi's needs at all. So I can only start with Ruri. Different from Ayane, Ruri is not only a genius of the Uchiha clan, but also the Uchiha clan does not have the inhuman tradition of the Hyuga clan. For the genius Ruri, the Uchiha upper class still takes great care of it. Ruri pondered for a while, then nodded, agreeing. Her status is not too high in the Uchiha clan, but it is not bad. In addition, she knows many medical ninjas of the Uchiha clan. They are all old and have no hope of awakening. The meaning of their existence is to serve Uchiha's elite, learn seal art, medical ninjutsu, and even enchantment. Ruri believes that they are happy to oblige with the request of her, who is destined to become an elite Uchiha ninja in the future. Furthermore, as long as the secret of the Uchiha clan is not passed on to Shiraishi, there is no problem. As far as Ruri knows, resources and ninjutsu are occasionally exchanged between the family and the village. Ruri's actions were quick. During weekends and vacations, she would directly visit Shiraishi's apartment. This was the first time she entered a boy's private room. Chapter 12. The environment of Shiraishi's room is very simple and plain. In addition to the necessary living utensils, the most eye-catching thing is a large one-piece bookshelf, which occupies almost half of the house. The shelves are full of books of many kinds. Includes basic physics, chemistry, biology, materials, machinery, etc. in the ninja world. Some knowledge is not comprehensible to people of their age. Ruri believes that even the adults of the Uchiha clan, only few people would read these types of books. They will only study more practical and powerful ninjutsu. For this type of book, they don't bother to take a look at them. Ninjutsu is the mainstream in the shinobi world. Subjects like mathematics and biology can only be said to be relative to shinobi. In Konoha's bookstore, such books are not very popular. These subjects are also taught in the ninja school, but most people are not interested in it. What's the use of reading these books? It's better for you to study more about ninjutsu. Ruri looked at Shiraishi dissatisfied. Shiraishi smiled confidently and said, Ruri, what you said is a bit discriminatory. Although the power of chakra is infinite, the power of science is not bad. What chakra can do, science can also do. Especially when science and chakra are combined, Shiraishi feels that this is the correct way to open up the world scientifically. Someday, the people of this world will discover this. Integrating the science of chakra, Shiraishi is willing to be the pioneer, and looks forward to the future of chakra science. Really? Have you seen the huge forest outside Konoha Village? It was created by the first generation of Hokage Hashima-sama in an instant with wooden ninjutsu. Can the science you mentioned do that? Ruri instantly raised an example. Ah, this really can't be done. It is possible to create a forest with the power of science, but it is really impossible for science to create such a huge forest in an instant. Even with the level of science in the previous life, it is impossible to achieve such an immediate miraculous effect. Not to mention the mighty power of the first generation of Hokage that suppressed an era. Even ordinary ninjas can create water, flames, and lightning out of thin air, which has violated the normal scientific development concept understood by Shiraishi. This is the wonder of chakra. So, your so-called science, compared with the powerful ninjutsu, is still worth mentioning heresy. You can learn, but don't go too deep. A ninja should look like a ninja. Ruri hopes that Shiraishi can focus on studying powerful ninjutsu and improving his own strength. It's not that he shouldn't learn the so-called science, but he should distinguish between priorities. They are ninjas. The destiny of a ninja is to fight. Live in battle, die in battle. If you want to live well, strength is the key. I see, I will seriously think about it. Ruri was very relieved to hear that Shiraishi listened to her words. Seriously. She didn't want to see Shiraishi, a genius, just like this. The days without an opponent are extremely boring, making her feel very lonely. When she knew that Shiraishi had the qualifications to fight her, she was really happy at that time. Ruri didn't stay here for too long. After talking for a while, she left. After Ruri left, Shiraishi devoted himself to studying. Ruri's words, to him, just went in one ear and out the other. Shiraishi feels that as a person who has received higher education, he should focus on developing his own characteristics. People should have self-knowledge. Furthermore, during scientific research, you can also use your spare time to improve your own strength. After all, there will be less and less comfortable time in the future. If you don't add knowledge and time now, it may be difficult to calm down and study in the future. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a laboratory that can be used for practice, otherwise he can verify some things he wants, and it will also be of great help to his study and ninjutsu practice. Well, speaking of which, many laboratories in the school are empty, and no one handles them. The main reason is that there are not many people in the medical counseling class. Most students are not interested in the extremely boring medical courses, so many laboratories are idle and unmanaged. In contrast, students are more interested in cool types of ninjutsu. This point can be used. It's not a crime if you don't get caught. A few days later, Shiraishi pulled out a 20 square meter cubicle in his house. In the small house, the space for rest is even more crowded. In the compartment, although the compactly arranged experimental equipment cannot fully meet Shiraishi's needs, it should be enough for the initial stage of research. Learning medical ninjutsu, or studying other things, is inseparable from these equipment. Some of these experimental equipment and materials were hand-picked from the laboratories in the school. These equipment and materials are very common and easy to lose, or not very important, and there are no signs on them. In addition, those laboratories have already been closed and blocked, and Shiraishi's actions are very secretive, so the possibility of discovery is very low. This can save Shiraishi a little money. Mostly, Shiraishi bought them from shops in the village, and the equipment purchased from the village were secondhand or cheap. In this era, there are already some foundations of science, but there is no complete and unified concept of science. After all, the application of chakra occupies a dominant position in the shinobi world. Science, like a down-and-out samurai, does not conform to the mainstream of our time. And after this period of understanding, using medical ninjutsu as the entry point of chakra science, maybe the road will be smoother. Hand touching the cold experimental equipment, Shiraishi's eyes showed a hint of nostalgia. In my previous life, after I was in high school, university, or even officially working in a hospital, because of professional problems, I often touched these weird appliances. These things are as kind as his friends. The types and uses of equipment are different from what Shiraishi understands, but as long as he reads the instructions, Shiraishi can skillfully assign these equipment and materials to categories and sort out a systematic research plan. The only regret is that his funds are not much. The inheritance left to him by his parents in this life is not deficient, but it has nothing to do with wealth either. Shiraishi knows that scientific research is inseparable from financial support. It seems that I can only find raw materials by myself. Fortunately, there are a lot of free resources in the forest in Konoha Village. Let's talk about the rest later. Learn medical ninjutsu first. The days of study are always fulfilling and enjoyable. Shiraishi's innate accumulation is much more than his peers. He was a senior physician in his previous life. Many parts of medical science in the two worlds are the same, but the term and noun are changed. The essence is the same. The only difference is the intervention of chakra. Shiraishi focused on solving this part. Therefore, with solid medical knowledge as a foundation, Shiraishi did not learn from scratch, but picked out the key points in unfamiliar places. It didn't take Shiraishi much time to solve this part, and it took only 1 month to master it. If you study it completely, it is estimated that it will take 1 year or even several years to complete the theoretical consolidation. Wanting to complete the comprehensive accumulation of theory in 1 month can only be said to be a dream. The scroll of medical ninjutsu given to him by Ruri contains several practical medical ninjutsu, as well as comments and experiences of some medical ninjas, which saved Shiraishi a lot of detours when he formally learned medical ninjutsu by himself. This made Shiraishi very grateful to Ruri. Without the help of Ruri, it would be impossible for him to grow so fast. Chapter 13. Time flies, time flies. Konoha 32 years. It's just the beginning of summer, and the climate is relatively warm, but not too hot. This day is a special day. The day the heroes return. Of course, the war is not completely over. The returning heroes are only the seriously wounded peoples on the front line, and they will no longer be able to survive as a ninja in the future. On the battlefield, they have become a burden to their colleagues. They must be escorted back to Konoha from the front line, and they can only spend the rest of their lives in the village. Following a large number of wounded, there are also the corpses of ninjas who have died, and they have been buried in the earth forever. So, on this comfortable day, some people are silent, some people cry, and there may be tears in their eyes, but they are definitely not the kind of tears of joy. Although there is no order, Konoha folks and ninjas have already organized a solemn ceremony to welcome the heroes back. But the adults waiting for the return of the heroes remained mournful and silent. The lively and active children in the past did not know what happened and did not dare to speak indiscriminately. They just stood silently in the sad atmosphere. War is never a good thing. Shiraishi's house. Shiraishi is not very interested in meeting those so-called heroes. He has no relatives who participated in this war, so there is no need to welcome heroes. But Shiraishi knew that Ruri would go to greet them. As a member of the Uchiha clan, she was obliged to greet the clansmen who returned from the war. If Ruri was alone, Shiraishi felt that he would meet Ruri and greet her at the entrance of the village. But there must be a lot of Uchiha people around Ruri. If he followed her, it would always feel inappropriate. Based on this consideration, Shiraishi felt that he should stay at home honestly. After all, he still had a lot of experiments to do. 2 years have passed. Shiraishi has not only learned all kinds of medical ninjutsu in the medical ninjutsu scroll that Ruri gave him, but also mastered them. To put it bluntly, Shiraishi is very confident in his medical ninjutsu level. In addition, his other aspects of growth have not fallen behind. According to Ruri's assessment, he now has a strength equivalent to that of a Chunin. Ruri passed the strict selection of the clan's Jonin level a year ago, and has the strength of the Chunin level, and Shiraishi can compete with Ruri at 46 or 50, so it is naturally at the level of the Chunin level. However, he has never exposed his true strength. In the eyes of others, he is still an ordinary student of the ninja school. It belongs to the kind of existence that is extremely inconspicuous among the crowd. I have also mastered a lot of ninjutsu, not to mention the 3-body jutsu, Palm-immortal jutsu, healing art, hemostatic art, chakra scalpel. These medical ninjutsu that are necessary for an excellent medical ninja are also mastered. As long as you understand the essence of it, it is not difficult for Shiraishi to learn it. What's more, he has a mature soul, far surpassing ordinary people in terms of self-control, and the time devoted to cultivation is about several times that of ordinary people. In addition to normal rest and classes every day, the rest of the time is basically spent in cultivation. It is also through untold hardships that I have achieved the current results. In the compartment of the house, this is a miniature laboratory especially distinguished by Shiraishi. On the table are many decanters, test tubes, utensils, and Bunsen burners with red and blue flames flickering. There are also some glass bottles, which contain a transparent solution. Some rare plant specimens are soaked in the solution, as well as some animal trunk specimens, such as eyeballs, liver and other important organs. Shiraishi skillfully took these tools and adjusted them in order to achieve the desired results. Then record the data on the computer. Speaking of it, Shiraishi felt quite surprised. He didn't expect that the ninja world, where the industry is not very developed, already has computers. Although the current computer processing system in the ninja world has not reached a very high level in Shiraishi's view, it is better to have than to have nothing. He is only good at fields such as chemistry, biology, and pharmacology. Although he also has an understanding of machinery and electronics, he is not proficient. Shiraishi can't do things like self-produced computers, and professional things can only be handled by professional people. And this computer with a low-level processing system in Shiraishi's opinion also cost Shiraishi a lot of money. Scientific research is like a bottomless pit, which has been devouring Shiraishi's few assets in the past 2 years. By now, Shiraishi's funds have bottomed out, so his research progress will naturally slow down. He can collect raw materials by himself, but some sophisticated equipment and some more precious materials still require money to obtain. While Shiraishi was worrying about this, there was a sudden knock on the door. Shiraishi put down his work and went to open the door. It turned out to be Ruri. Already 8 years old, she is a little taller than 2 years ago. Although she is still childish, her eyes are sharper and colder, giving people a feeling of inhumanity. Although it sounds a bit ugly, Ruri is indeed a person who doesn't fit in very well. She doesn't know how to accommodate others, nor does she know how to deal with interpersonal relationships, but she is very keen on things like becoming stronger. So she is a hot-blooded and warlike person in her bones. This may have something to do with the traditional personality of the Uchiha clan, who are usually very hot-blooded and warlike. Shiraishi believed that if it wasn't for his true strength that made her look differently, it would have been difficult to even say a word. It is precisely because both parties know a little about each other's secrets that Shiraishi thinks that he and Ruri are compatible partners. Is the welcome ceremony over so soon? Shiraishi led Ruri into the room and asked out of curiosity. According to Shiraishi's estimation, Ruri should spend 1 day cleaning up the dust for the returning heroes of the Uchiha clan. No, I just left early, but many people in the clan died, and some people can no longer live as ninjas. Ruri's mood seems a little depressed. It's war after all, Shiraishi said with emotion. It is undoubtedly a normal thing to die or be disabled in a war. Why didn't you go? Ruri asked Shiraishi this question. I have no family coming back from this war. Ruri remembered that Shiraishi's parents had died in the mission a long time ago. I am sorry. It's okay, I don't care about this kind of thing, a person is just a little free. Shiraishi smiled at Ruri, expressing his indifference, and walked towards the compartment in the house. Ruri also followed Shiraishi into the cubicle in Shiraishi's private research room. Shiraishi did not hide this from Ruri about his research. After all, what he did was not some shady and forbidden experiment. Even if Ruri knew about it, she would not talk nonsense. This kind of tacit understanding has been cultivated in 2 years. Although she hasn't reached the highest level of, if you don't tell me, I already understand, Ruri is not a person who likes to ask questions. It's as if she knew Shiraishi's true strength, but she never had the idea of exposing him. Shiraishi would not ask Ruri why he didn't expose him, and Ruri would not ask Shiraishi why he hid his strength. Even so, it will not affect the pure friendship between them. This is the best tacit understanding. Chapter 14. You've been messing around with these messy things lately, haven't you been lazy in your recent practice? Scanning around the house, Ruri's tone seemed dissatisfied. In her opinion, Shiraishi's weird research is just a waste of time. It's just a personal interest. Compared with practice, I actually prefer doing research. As he spoke, Shiraishi picked up a small bag from the table and threw it to Ruri. After Ruri took it, she frowned. What is in it? A good thing, it's my special food pill. The efficiency of restoring chakra and physical strength is better than that on the market, and it is easy to digest and will not cause a load on the human digestive system. Food pill has the effect of restoring physical strength and chakra, and has always been an emergency food that ninjas often eat when they are out on missions. However, because it is full of bitter and unpleasant herbal smells, many people are not very willing to take food pills to solve the problems of physical strength and insufficient chakra unless it is a last resort. In addition to the fact that it is not easy to digest, eating too much can easily cause indigestion in the human body. Show off. Ruri snorted, but still took the bag full of special military food pills and put it into the ninja bag that was tied to her leg. Why do you want to make food pills? Because you can't wait to graduate from ninja school, you will need it. Shiraishi said with an expression that sees through everything. Ruri glanced at Shiraishi, but said nothing. Shiraishi paused, and then continued to ask, by the way, when do you plan to graduate? Ruri replied, although your guess is very reasonable, it's a pity that you guessed wrong this time. I guessed wrong. Ruri raised a faint smile on his face and said, yes, I am personally very willing to graduate from school early, but the elders in the family are not happy for me to do so. Graduating at this time means going to the frontline battlefield. For the fledgling genin, the death rate is very high. Shiraishi understood, nodded and said, so, to protect geniuses, it is enough to graduate naturally, there is no need to finish school in advance. This is a natural result. Once you graduate from school, it means saying goodbye to the easy life. Normal graduation requires 6 years of study at ninja school. Now Shiraishi and Ruri are only third-year students, and they still have a few years to consolidate their growth before they graduate normally. It is not ruled out that there are geniuses in the ninja school who think they are outstanding and graduate early, and then they are arranged to go to the frontline battlefield. Shiraishi believes that the upper echelon of Konoha should have set a rule that children under the age of 10 are not allowed to graduate from the ninja school early during the war. But thinking about it this way, Shiraishi knew that he had taken it for granted. During the Warring States period, it was common for children aged 4 or 5 to go to the battlefield. Although the situation in the ninja world is a little better today, it is still not uncommon for children under the age of 10 to go to the battlefield. After graduating from ninja school, they are already qualified ninjas, so they should not be treated as children. But in this way, there will be more or less problems with their values, and it is easy to take the path of extremes. Ruri, the old man of your family wouldn't want you to graduate with ninja skills. Shiraishi suddenly noticed something. Ruri, who is already 8 years old, has already possessed the strength of Chunin. In a few years, if she works hard, she may not be able to possess the strength of Jinin. Of course, combat experience may be lacking, but ninjutsu and basic abilities will definitely not be lacking. Ruri received the elite teaching of the Uchiha clan from childhood. At the starting line, he was already a long way ahead of the civilian ninjas. After graduation, experience can be accumulated slowly, but the lower limit of strength is very important for fledgling ninjas. The more strength you have on the battlefield, the more chances you will survive. When Ruri heard Shiraishi say this, she immediately rolled her eyes at him. Does this guy think Jonin is a Chinese cabbage on the street? It means common or many peoples. The gap between the upper ninja and the middle ninja is bigger than the gap between the middle ninja and the lower ninja. The so-called Jonin are ninjas who are outstanding in one or several fields. Even though Ruri is proud and arrogant, she doesn't dare to say that she can improve a certain field to the level where she can become a teacher in the next few years. Jonin selection is not comparable to the difficulty of Chunin selection. They chatted at Shiraishi's house for a while, and at 6 o'clock in the evening, the two went to Ichiraku ramen shop to eat ramen and solve the dinner problem before saying goodbye and leaving. Sorry, I have something to do over there suddenly, so I'm a little late. In the dense forest on the mountain behind the school, it was already dark at this time. It was Ayane who agreed to meet Shiraishi here. 2 years have passed, and she has also changed from a first-year student to a third-year student, and she is a little taller than before. Hearing the voice from behind, Ayane, who had her arms folded behind her back, slowly turned around. She was wearing a white dress with the family crest of the Hyuga clan, dark blue trousers on her lower body, long straight black hair down to her waist, and no impurities in her pure white pupils. The smile on her face gave people a bright and innocent feeling. It's okay, I just arrived not long ago. But Mr. Shiraishi delayed a little because of Ruri. Sometimes I really envy her. Although the Uchiha clan has always been vigorous and resolute because they are in charge of Konoha's security team, it will give people a sense of arrogance and domineering. In addition, their personality of overemphasizing power has offended many ninjas and civilians for this reason, but at least this family is not as ruthless and cold-blooded as the Hyuga clan. Because of this, Ayane, who is also from a wealthy family, is very envious of Ruri's free personality and life. It would be nice if she was born in the Uchiha clan. Yeah, I was preached to by her again. Shiraishi scratched his head, slightly distressed. Don't say that, I think this is just proof of your friendly relationship. Ayane smiled. Although she had no contact with Shiraishi on the surface since that incident, she secretly knew everything about Shiraishi. For example, his hidden strength has reached the level of Chunin. He has a very good relationship with Ruri, the Uchiha genius. He also secretly does some experiments with unknown purposes. The sense of belonging to the village is almost zero, and he is considering leaving the village in the near future and becoming a rebel. As for these things, as the communication between the two deepened, Shiraishi did not hide anything from Ayane. Shiraishi believes that since we are companions, we should be honest with each other. At least he should reveal part of his plans and goals to Ayane so that she can feel at ease. Yeah, Shiraishi felt that the time for private contact was limited, and he couldn't get too entangled in this kind of matter, so he went straight to the point and said, "Is there nothing wrong with you?" "No, after all, I'm just an insignificant member of the branch family. The main family won't waste too much energy on people like me." It was originally a self-deprecating remark, but when it came out of Ayane's mouth, it became very flat. 2 years have passed, and she has naturally been able to restrain her fluctuating anger a little bit. Even so, there was still a hint of sadness and sigh hidden in her pure white pupils. Saying that, Ayane took out a small package from the ninja bag, wrapped it in a cloth belt, and put it in Shiraishi's hand. "Thanks a lot." Shiraishi took the package and said softly. "This is what I should do, but it shouldn't be enough just to study blood." Ayane asked this question. As the experiments become more and more formalized, Shiraishi has already begun to carry out more weighty experiments. The study of blood is an important link. This is the blood of Ayane and some Hyuga clan members. These are the precious materials carefully collected by Ayane. Because Ayane and Shiraishi both understand one thing: if they leave Konoha in the future, they must undo the seal of the caged bird and let Ayane regain her freedom. Otherwise, once Ayane's identity as a traitor is confirmed, the members of the clan will definitely use spells to kill Ayane on the spot. What Shiraishi wants to do is to experiment with this part. Unlock the caged bird curse seal used by the Hyuga clan to control the branch family, and let Ayane regain her freedom. Thinking about it carefully, Shiraishi's current ability can be said to be a fantasy. It seems that he has seen Ayane's hidden worries. After all, this is a matter of his own life and death. Shiraishi understands Ayane's nervous and restless state of mind. Blood is only one of the conditions for getting it, but it is not a must. How to unlock the curse mark of the caged bird is not the answer. Shiraishi just intends to use the blood collected by Ayane to make some comparisons, so as to obtain more accurate data and find a very small incision. If the secrets of the Hyuga clan can be obtained just by studying blood, then it would be too contemptuous of the blood-stained ninja clan that has been passed down for many years. What's more, we can't get more material now, so we can only wait for it later. Hearing what Shiraishi said, Ayane also felt relieved. Collecting these bloods has made her do her best. As for the complete human body material, she knows without even thinking about it that she will fail and be arrested. It's almost time, let's separate here. If you stay any longer, you might be noticed. Shiraishi was worried that the news of his secret contact with Ayane would be revealed. In that case, not only Ayane, but himself would also be thoroughly investigated. It will undoubtedly be troublesome when things turn out that way. Chapter 15. It's almost time, let's separate here. If you continue to stay, maybe people will notice. Shiraishi was worried that the news of his secret contact with Ayane would be revealed. In that case, not only Ayane, but himself would also be thoroughly investigated. It will undoubtedly be troublesome when things turn out that way. Actually, don't worry, Shiraishi-kun. I have awakened Byakugan. Within a kilometer, no one can approach this place without being noticed by me. Before coming here, I have searched here in advance. As she spoke, Ayane made a sign with her hands, the veins around her eyes began to bulge, and her white pupils suddenly turned bluish-white. This is the blood successor limit Kekkei Genkei of the Hyuga clan, Byakugan. The members of the Hyuga clan who have awakened the white eyes can cooperate with the soft fist handed down by their clan at this time to further enhance the power of the soft fist. In addition to being able to maximize the power of soft fist, Byakugan also has many auxiliary abilities such as far-sightedness, perspective, insight, and enhanced chakra release power. At present, Ayane can fully see within a radius of 1 kilometer, and with Byakugan's own see-through ability, that means that within a radius of 1 kilometer, no one can sneak up here without being noticed by Ayane. Whether it is by means of a cover or invisibility, the chakra system of the human body will definitely be seen by the white eyes, which is why Ayane is confident that no one can approach this place silently. Byakugan's increase in combat may not be as strong as Uchiha's Sharingan, but in a strategic sense, the value of Byakugan is far greater than that of Sharingan. It can be said that as long as there is a Byakugan, Konoha will not have to worry about being attacked by the enemy and messing up. All the defenses and traps of the enemy will become meaningless. Ayane, when did you open your eyes? Shiraishi's eyes were full of surprise. According to what he learned, the eye-opening probability of Byakugan is far higher than that of Uchiha's Sharingan. But generally speaking, the possibility of opening eyes to the Hyuga family under the age of 10 is still relatively small. And Ayane is only 8 years old this year, but she can open her eyes. It is conceivable that her talent is also very good. It was just opened a while ago, because I wanted to give you a surprise, Shiraishi-kun, so I didn't say anything. Ayane kept her eyes open, smiled and said, "That's it." Shiraishi rubbed his chin and said, "Since this is the case, we need to change the next plan and speed up the research process." "That's right, come to my house sometime, and I'll give you a full-body checkup." Byakugan, I really don't want to let go of such precious and unknown data. Although I know that what Shiraishi-kun is doing is a formal experiment, At that time, Shiraishi-kun, you shouldn't do some strange things to me, right? Ayane seems to be suspicious of Shiraishi's character. What are you thinking? You also said that it was a formal experiment, didn't you? Shiraishi glanced at Ayane helplessly. That being said, but Shiraishi also had the experience of touching my body before. You said it was to formulate a scientific exercise method for me. After all, no one knows whether it is true or not. Ayane smiled in a half-smile, with a hint of cunning in her blue-white pupils. What does it mean to touch the whole body? Shiraishi doesn't remember doing such a thing. Besides, during the inspection, Ayane was also wearing clothes. Smelting copper is illegal. Hey, Ayane, the more you talk, the more outrageous you are. If my exercise method is really useless, you wouldn't just complain to me today. Forget it, I still have important things to deal with, and today is over. Just kidding, I will find time to come over and cooperate with Shiraishi-kun for check body. Then, goodbye. Well, goodbye, be careful not to be found out. Watching Ayane leave the woods from another direction, Shiraishi put his hands in his pockets and slowly returned home. After returning, Shiraishi took the blood collected by Ayane and began to test it, relying on instruments to analyze its composition. Even if it is ordinary blood, there are actually many differences in the things contained in it, or the characteristics. It is like the blood of the same blood type, the blood of the blood successor Kekkei Genkei family and the blood of ordinary civilians, and the characteristics are very different. Generally speaking, people born in blood successor families have more active blood, and carry a very special genetic factor, which can be passed on to the next generation. Therefore, Shiraishi came to the conclusion that chakra is the origin of changing everything. Shiraishi called this topic, exploring the origin and essence of chakra. Ninjas use chakra to change their shape and nature. Based on the change of chakra's nature, they use it together, which is a common prototype of Kekkei Genkei. Kekkei Genkei are generally a certain part of a person's body that has undergone a special abnormality under the action of chakra, making that part have an extremely powerful active factor, and then changing the genes of the whole body. And with the help of chakra, This special gene is passed on to the next generation, and then the next generation can naturally grasp the power of Kekkei Genkei. The Kekkei Genkei family was thus formed. Because of this special genetic factor power, ordinary ninjas basically have no advantage over Kekkei Genkei ninjas. However, the main purpose of Shiraishi's testing of the blood of the members of the Hyuga clan branch collected by Ayane is not to prove how special the power of the Kekkei Genkei is, and what kind of huge advantage the Kekkei Genkei ninjas has compared with ordinary ninjas. This kind of topic is actually of no value to Shiraishi. With this blood, it is impossible to explore the secret of the caged bird of the Hyuga clan. Shiraishi understood this from the very beginning. All he has to do is to understand the difference between Kekkei Genkeis and ordinary people. In order to verify a doubt in his heart and make sure that his guess is correct, he is more interested in the things on the Kekkei Genkei ninja. Before this, he had gotten some dander, hair, and saliva from Ayane. Of course, he also took some of Ruri's, although Ruri beat him up when he made this suggestion. Closer to home, Shiraishi divided chakra research into two categories from the very beginning: applied chakra and essence chakra. Using chakra refers to focusing on the practical use of chakra, such as using chakra to derive ninjutsu, illusion, and physical techniques, and apply it to combat in other fields. The essence of chakra is the real core of chakra exploration. Water is used as an example. What Shiraishi considers is not how water can be used, but how water is formed, what elements it is composed of, how these elements are produced, and why water can be synthesized. Similarly, what Shiraishi considers is not what ninjutsu, illusion, and body art chakra performs, but what he values is what chakra is composed of, why it can be composed, what is spiritual energy and physical energy, and why spiritual energy and physical energy can synthesize chakra that is necessary for the human body. Too many whys filled Shiraishi's mind. Because no matter what kind of changes and advancements are made to the things on the ninja, they cannot leave the root of chakra. Every change remains the same. Therefore, everything Shiraishi does is to explore the essence of chakra. Chakra is the foundation of everything, the creator of everything. If the secret of chakra is unlocked, then based on the root of chakra, whether it is the Kekkei Genkei created or the so-called caged bird, it will not be difficult to know the method of cracking it. No, Shiraishi can imagine that at that time, he would not bother to pursue the so-called ninjutsu. However, this seemingly simple thing is often the most difficult to do. Shiraishi searched all the books in the library of the ninja school, none of them were exploring the origin of chakra. The whole article was about the ninjutsu system perfected by people, not the chakra as the root. Either the ninjas are just tools for killing, and they are not interested in how the tools come from. Either Konoha's senior management has sealed up this part of the secret. According to Shiraishi's guess, the former is more likely. Even if it is blocked, it should be disclosed, and some outstanding scientific research talents should be cultivated from the ninja school. Shiraishi is not wrong to say that the power of science is infinite. However, this is the ninja world, and the science in the ninja world is not mathematics, physics, chemistry, etc. in the general sense. But chakra. In this ninja world where chakra is the truth, even science cannot break away from the framework of chakra. This is also the reason why Shiraishi judged that Konoha has not really started the origin of chakra. Should it be a difference in cognition, or simply a dull brain? If Konoha has research in this area, at least it can provide Shiraishi with a general direction. However, Konoha has no research theory in this area. Everything needs to be perfected and constructed by Shiraishi himself. Shiraishi touched the hair on his head, hoping that he won't lose his hair seriously when he grows up. Chapter 16. Phew. The 6 shurikens detached from Ruri's palm in an instant without the slightest delay, and they attacked Shiraishi from different angles. The throwing of shuriken and kunai has always been the specialty of the Uchiha clan. Even Shiraishi, who has worked hard in this area, cannot guarantee that he will surpass Ruri in this area. But he has fought against Ruri countless times in these years, so he knows many of Ruri's attack methods. He took out a kunai to quickly block, and sparks burst out in the slightly dim woods. Then, 6 more shurikens flew over. He didn't let the shurikens of the second round get close to him, and bounced them all away. Shiraishi's figure rushed up, and drew closer to Ruri, starting a close range hand-to-hand combat. The speed with which the two of them swung kunai was as fast as lightning and thunder, tearing the air and bringing a chilling and heavy atmosphere. At this moment, Ruri suddenly started to make seals with one hand. Shiraishi was slightly startled, and his body reacted subconsciously. Fire style. Fireball. One-handed seal. Shiraishi couldn't help being surprised that Ruri can use this unique skill. Shiraishi has only seen this kind of one-handed seal in textbooks, but in fact very few people do it. But thinking of the accumulation of the Uchiha clan, although not everyone can do it, they must have relevant training skills in this area. After all, Ruri's ninja talent is the best one Shiraishi has seen so far. This is not only reflected in combat, but also in learning. Before this battle, Shiraishi didn't know that Ruri could form seals with one hand. At close range, she suddenly launched a fire-style ninjutsu, and the huge fireball approached him. The trees hit by the fireball burned in the blazing flames, making a crackling sound, and then collapsed with a bang. It's dangerous, luckily. Shiraishi heaved a sigh of relief, subconsciously looked directly into Ruri's gaze, and just about to speak, his body trembled involuntarily, the world in front of his eyes twirled, upside down. I saw Ruri's pupils spinning rapidly, the pupils changed from black to scarlet, and each of the scarlet pupils occupied two tadpole-like black tomo. Such mysterious and dangerous pupils rotated in Ruri's eyes, releasing a kind of mental illusion that Shiraishi couldn't physically guard against. It directly penetrated all of Shiraishi's defenses and made him fall into a powerful illusion. Shiraishi rolled his throat dryly, showing a wry smile. Ruri learned a one-handed seal to release ninjutsu. But he didn't expect that, like Ayane, Ruri also awakened their Uchiha clan's blood-following pupil technique Sharingan. And it is still a Sharingan in the state of Tutomo. Seeing Ruri's incomparably skillful release of illusion, he knows that she used her Sharingan very maturely. In Konoha Village, there is a general perception that the difficulty of opening the eyes of Sharingan is far higher than that of Byakugan. Byakugan is more focused on assistance and strategy in battle, while Sharingan represents strength. There is a saying in the ninja world that if you meet a Sharingan ninja from the Uchiha clan, if it's a one-on-one battle, run away immediately. It means that there is no chance of winning if you fight alone with the ninjas of the Uchiha clan. At this time, don't think about how to win, but just use your brain on escaping. The opening of Sharingan not only means that ninjas of the Uchiha clan can use powerful visual illusions more conveniently, but also their dynamic vision will also grow significantly. According to the scientific training method given by Shiraishi, Ruri has already achieved remarkable results in dynamic vision. Now that she has turned on Sharingan, it is estimated that even those Uchiha ninjas in the state of Tutomo may not be able to surpass Ruri in terms of dynamic vision. The enhancement of dynamic vision means that Ruri can see through all the enemy's attack patterns. As long as she strengthens her reaction nerves, even Jonin cannot easily defeat her. Shiraishi, who originally thought that Ruri was 50-50, 40-60, may now be 10-90. Shiraishi really realized one thing, facing the illusion of Sharingan, if there is no preparation in advance, it is very difficult to fight back. I think the word lose has not been spoken yet. Ruri came over, raised her foot, and stepped on Shiraishi's face mercilessly. Shiraishi felt his face hurt. I am a hidden genius even though I am neither big nor small. Now it has become so vulnerable. Reality is cruel. Ruri, next time you step on my face, can you please take off your shoes and step on it again? Just now the soles of your shoes hurt my face. Hearing Shiraishi's complaints lying on the ground, Ruri immediately looked at Shiraishi with the same contempt for maggots. Let her take off her shoes and then step on his face, pervert. Seriously, you still *** me off like this. The reason why Shiraishi makes Ruri unhappy is not only that the other party diverts excess energy to research, but also because Shiraishi is always hiding his strength and being underestimated and ridiculed by those trash in the class. As he entered the 3rd grade, Shiraishi did not change his hidden style. Facing people who are weaker than yourself, but willingly being defeated, and then accepting the ridicule and belittling of those people, and finally pretending to be indifferent, just laugh it off. This is the source of Ruri's displeasure. If Shiraishi shows his true strength, even if he faces their head teacher Fujimura Taiga, a Chunin, Shiraishi may have a chance of winning. She didn't know why Shiraishi wanted to hide his strength, but his attitude towards life subconsciously made her angry and felt very uncomfortable. Well, it's just a joke between children, there's no need to take it seriously. You have to know, adults don't care about children. Shiraishi sat up from the ground, the illusion on his body was also undone by Ruri, and explained with a casual smile. Ruri was speechless. This sentence made him look like he was not a child. Speaking of which, when did you open Sharingan? Shiraishi asked with interest. The day the clansmen came back from the battlefield, I felt a little uncomfortable, and then it suddenly opened up. Ruri said with a blank face, it seems that opening Sharingan is just such a trivial matter, and there is no more complicated process. Really? I heard that the opening of Sharingan requires very strong emotions to stimulate it. It seems that this statement is not groundless. She must have thought that many close clansmen did not come back from the battlefield alive. Even if they came back alive at this time, they became disabled ninjas, so the emotional ups and downs were violent, and she accidentally opened Sharingan. Ruri didn't deny it, she closed her Sharingan, and her black pupils returned to normal. The use of the Sharingan in battle has put a certain load on her now. That, Ruri. Shiraishi stood up from the ground, walked towards Ruri, and showed a flattering smile. Tell me, what's the matter? Ruri instinctively took a step back. Shiraishi's expression, she know that something bad is about to happen. That, I have no money to do research, and now I can't even eat. Can you support me for a while? The time is not long, and I will pay you back when I do the task after graduation. Shiraishi shamelessly asked Ruri to take care of him. Ruri silently took out kunai from the ninja bag. If you want to die, I can help you right now. Finally, after signing a series of prostitution contracts, Ruri reluctantly agreed to keep Shiraishi. Chapter 17. Ninja School, Physical Education Class. Today's training event is a race, running 50 laps around the playground, and the last student will add 10 laps. So every student tried his best not to be the last one. After running 50 laps, there is no doubt that Ruri won first place. As a girl, she actually likes to reason with people with her fists. In her words, this is the experience of the Uchiha clan. Everyone is familiar with this kind of thing, and the homeroom. Teacher Fujimura Taiga also thinks it is a matter of course. Except for the occasional civilian geniuses, among the students of the same level in the ninja school, the ninja members who have the background support always occupy the first place. Especially the wealthy Uchiha, they jointly founded Konoha with the Senju clan, which can be said to be the top wealthy family among Konoha. The security force controlled by their family has power beyond imagination. Although they offended many people because of this, as the strongest ninja in Konoha, even Hokage had to give them a face. As the member of one of the only two ninja clans who founded Konoha, it is reasonable to have such a proud mentality. Congratulations, Ruri, you are number one again. Fujimura Taiga said in a congratulatory tone. Whether it's a physical race, or ninjutsu, or competitions, shuriken, etc., Ruri is the first in Class A of the 3rd grade. There is such a talented student in the class, and his performance will skyrocket without him doing anything. There is only one thing that makes him very depressed. Get out of the way, Chunin Fujimura-sensei, you are blocking my sight. Ruri frowned, raised her head slightly, and said in an impatient tone. A bad female student who doesn't respect the teacher. Is there any student who talks to the teacher in such a tone? What happened to the Chunin? The Chunin is already the backbone of the village. Don't look down on Chunin. Fujimura Taiga is shaking with coldness. When will Konoha Chunin really stand up? But thinking about the shuriken throwing skills and ninjutsu that Ruri usually shows, including running 50 laps on the playground without blushing or panting, Fujimura Taiga was speechless. It's a bit sad to say, he no longer has the ability to teach Ruri. Being surpassed by students should be something every teacher should be happy about, but seeing Ruri's eyes full of contempt, Fujimura Taiga was very depressed. Not only in class and constantly exchanging notes at the same table, it often stimulates his fragile psychology as a bachelor. In order for the two to listen carefully to the class, Fujimura Taiga once transferred Shiraishi to another seat. After class, Ruri rushed directly to the office to teach him how to be an excellent ninja school teacher with her fists. These are all bleak past events that Fujimura Taiga cannot look directly at. He is just a chunin, and he is a chunin with excellent education ability, and his fighting is mediocre. Fortunately, he is broad-minded and doesn't care about like a child, otherwise, if he got anxious, he would dare to file a complaint to the third Hokage. In his eyes, Ruri is just a naughty girl, even though sometimes she is too naughty. Mr. Fujimura is a good teacher, there is no need to stimulate him so much. About a minute later, Shiraishi also ran 50 laps, looking panting, a little out of breath. Because it is necessary to run 50 consecutive laps, each lap has a distance of 400 meters, cannot stop halfway, and maintain a certain speed, it is still somewhat difficult for third-grade students. Most of them were like Shiraishi. Although they were able to finish the run, they were panting afterward. Ayane is probably the only person like Ruri who ran 50 laps of the playground without changing face. Is it enough? If you have enough, go to the canteen and buy me a glass of juice. She gave Shiraishi a paper ticket of 1,000 taels. Shiraishi went honestly. When he came back, he bought 2 glasses of juice, one for Ruri and one for himself. Ruri took a look and said nothing. At this time, there was a burst of cheering from not far away. Minato-san. Ah, Minato is so handsome. Startled by the girls' coquettish shouts, Shiraishi and Ruri looked at the other class on the playground at the same time. They were also in physical education class. The protagonist at the center of the incident is a blonde boy who is about the same age as Shiraishi. How should I put it, he's a little girly, but he looks really outstanding on the outside. Especially the cool and drifting hair, and the delicate face that has become shy because of the girls' coquettish calls, it is even more attractive. For a while, the playground was filled with a peachy atmosphere. That's Namikaze Minato from Class B next door. That guy is still so popular in school. Shiraishi seemed to know the boy who was cheered by the girls. Different from my mediocre self, the other party is a third-year idol. Although he looks a little girly, he is really handsome and delicate. He must be a handsome man when he grows up. I am really simple and unpretentious. So envious. You know him. Ruri raised her eyebrows. I have spoken occasionally, but I am not very familiar with it. Shiraishi took a sip of juice and said, "This group of people is really loud. Well, this is youth. It's really noisy. Those women are really a group of nympho. Instead of worshipping others, it's better to temper yourself. It looks like the type who died early on the battlefield." Ruri unceremoniously criticized those girls. Is it really okay to curse your classmates like this? Who made them so noisy? I'll go back first. After finishing speaking, Ruri crumpled up the empty paper cup, threw it into the trash can, and went back to the academy building. Shiraishi scratched his head, looking distressed. The next day. An important thing to announce today. Head teacher Fujimura Taiga held a stack of documents in his hand, and said to all the students in the class with a solemn expression. The students looked at each other, not knowing what happened, whispering. Fujimura Taiga ignored the whispering students, and said directly, "From today, the medical and health class will be officially selected as a compulsory course for all grades in the ninja school. In addition, the ninja school will also set up an experimental class dedicated to training medical ninjas. Students who are willing can apply here." As he said that, Fujimura Taiga opened the documents in his hand, and the application inside was sent out in one copy. Ruri took the application form in her hand and put it beside her without even looking at it. She has no interest in being a medical ninja. On the contrary, Shiraishi was more interested in getting this application form. However, why did the village make such a decision at this time? Maybe it has something to do with the tension on the frontline battlefield. Ayane on the other side also got the application form, and like Ruri, she didn't pay attention. To become a medical ninja, one must first have a yang attribute chakra, and her attribute is not a yang attribute, so even if she wants to, it is impossible to become a medical ninja, at most she can become a nurse or something like that. But this kind of occupation, presumably the Hyuga clan would not allow it. Her powerful talent, in the eyes of the main family, should be used to protect the main family, not to become a medical ninja or nurse. P.S. Let me tell you here, the protagonist is the same age as Minato. Chapter 18. Shiraishi took the application form for medical ninja training and read it carefully. The above is not only the content of applying for medical ninja training, but also the subsidy and resource preference of the village after becoming a medical ninja, including wages, are clearly stated. It also noted that on the battlefield, medical ninjas are the least likely type of ninja to die. Because all the medical ninjas will be in the base camp of the position, where they will be responsible for treating the wounded. Even if there are medical ninjas in the team and need to go to the front line to fight, if they are accidentally caught by the enemy, there is a high probability that the enemy will not kill the medical ninja, but imprison them. Whether it is used as a bargaining chip or to let the imprisoned medical ninjas help treat the wounded, it is an issue that the major ninja villages need to consider. There are only a few medical ninjas in the ninja world. Every medical ninja is a valuable resource for the village. Even if the enemy catches a medical ninja, they are reluctant to kill it. Has all kinds of benefits. Medical ninja is indeed the type of ninja with the lowest death rate. The prerequisite for becoming a medical ninja is to undergo a test first, and only those who have yang attribute chakra can be cultivated. Without yang chakra, even if they have a strong will to become a medical ninja, they will be turned away. At most, they will work as assistants or nurses, commonly known as helpers and chores. 2 days later, Shiraishi submitted his application form and handed it over to the homeroom teacher, Fujimura Taiga. Along with Shiraishi, there are several other people who also want to become medical ninjas. After school, Fujimura Taiga took them to a classroom that had been vacant for a long time. There were several ninjas wearing ninja uniforms and animal masks. They were members of Anbu directly under Hokage. A total of 30 to 40 students gathered here, and they were checked by these Anbu ninjas in sequence. If they have yang chakra, they will stay, and if they don't have yang chakra, they will be excluded. 23 people were selected, and Shiraishi was one of them. All of these 23 people have yang attribute chakra. Then, Anbu Ninja told Shiraishi and others that they would be the first batch of medical ninjas to be formally trained by Konoha Ninja School. In the past, medical ninjas were not trained in school. This time it is the first establishment class that trains medical ninjas. The first medical ninja training experimental class. Shiraishi and others took classes in the first experimental class from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. every day. There is a total of nearly 2 hours of training every day. Because they are medical ninjas, it will be much easier for them to take graduation exams in the future, and they will receive a lot of extra allowance every year. Shiraishi's first class was taught by a ninja from Anbu, who was proficient in medical ninjutsu. Due to achievements in medical ninjutsu, this Anbu was promoted to a special junin and was one of the best in Konoha. According to what he said, he is responsible for teaching basic medical knowledge and he is an Anbu elite directly under Hokage order. For this reason, it can be said that Konoha's upper management attaches great importance to the results of the first medical ninja training experiment class, in hopes that in a few years, there will be dozens more excellent medical ninjas to reduce the death rate for Konoha's frontline battlefield. During the first class, the Anbu ninja distributed a few textbooks to everyone, and asked the students to master all the important knowledge points in these textbooks within half a year. There will be a theoretical exam every week, and those who excel in the exam will be rewarded. The reward can be ninjutsu, money, etc. Shiraishi roughly glanced at it, and found that it was something that he had already mastered. But in order not to attract attention, it is better to be ordinary. Scores. It's fine if you don't go up or down, but it's okay to be slightly higher or lower than the average. However, it is very difficult to maintain a middle position. Because it is necessary to consider that some questions cannot be answered by intermediate students, so it is necessary to study the questions, which ones can be answered, which ones cannot be answered, which ones can only be answered half correctly, and which answers will not be suspected even if they are correct. These are extremely profound knowledge. Fortunately, Shiraishi has already collected lots of experience in the past 2 years, and it is not difficult to deal with it. It is necessary to give the other party the illusion that he has a solid foundation, but he is only average when facing difficult problems. Alas, he is getting better at disguising. Keeping pretending like this, I feel like I am really no different from an average school student. Class ending bell rang, and Shiraishi came out of the classroom of the first experimental class. It was already 5 p.m. Students in the first experimental class have 2 more hours of learning medical ninjutsu than normal students every day. But the benefits are also obvious, especially for civilians who are not of ninja origin. Medical ninja is a good way out. Seeing that the time was almost up, Shiraishi hurriedly ran towards the woods on the mountain behind the school. Ruri was already waiting for him there. This is a practice field shared by Shiraishi and Ruri. Few people will pass by here, there is a certain degree of confidentiality. In addition, as the strength of the two became stronger and stronger, the mechanism here would be triggered before the average ninja approached here, alerting the two of them. It's not just Shiraishi who doesn't want to be disturbed, Ruri also doesn't like to communicate with unrelated people. Because it is in a village, these traps are only used to imprison the target but not to kill. You are late. Ruri was only wearing a set of black tights at this time, her long straight black hair was gently raised in the breeze, her hands were folded in front of her chest, and she had a bored expression on her face. Shiraishi didn't care, or he was used to it. He looked around, there were a lot of messy shurikens lying on the ground, and there were still many potholes with scorched black marks. It is estimated that Ruri has been practicing shuriken throwing and fire release ninjutsu after school. Judging from the number of shurikens, the degree of damage, and the blackness of the potholes, Ruri's shuriken throwing technique and fire release ninjutsu have become more and more refined. What are you playing today? Free battle? No, this time we are going to play a game of fighting with our eyes closed, and the loser will clean up the field at the end. Shiraishi nodded, agreeing to this game. Ruri occasionally proposes some battle games with weird rules. For example, I used to play a game where I stood still and kept shooting shuriken at each other, and whoever moved first would lose. At that time, Shiraishi almost failed. Therefore, without any foreplay atmosphere, the two closed their eyes at the same time, and moved away from the spot in an instant. When the wind blew, their fists had already collided. I'm sorry, Ruri, you can't use Sharingan this time. Although it's a bit unfair, this is a rule made by yourself, so I will definitely win. Shiraishi grabbed the slender leg that Ruri kicked over, and smiled confidently with his eyes closed. Did no one tell you that if you talk too much have to pay a heavy price? I only know that men can't always be below. I have an adult soul in my body, but I was crushed and beaten by an 8-year-old girl, and it lasted for 2 years. It can be said that successfully defeating Ruri once is one of his greatest wishes in this life. What a boring pride. Ruri snorted coldly, but her face became serious. Do not think it is easy for her to suppress Shiraishi every time. Shiraishi's growth rate is very fast, and he is always cling behind her back, making her always have a feeling of crisis that she is about to be surpassed by him. The most important thing is that not all of Shiraishi's energy is devoted to cultivation, some part of his energy is devoted to research. If you are not careful, it is really possible for him to succeed in surpassing her. Shiraishi knew that if he and Ruri actually fought against each other, they would not have the upper hand in many aspects. Especially the gap in chakra. Shiraishi's chakra is not strong enough to be used casually, but Ruri is different. As a genius of the Uchiha clan, especially after awakening Sharingan, chakra suddenly entered a stage of explosive growth. This is the biggest difference between blood heritage ninjas and ordinary ninjas. Bloodline ninjas are truly amazing. Ninjas who have blood and work hard are even more remarkable. Sure enough, when Shiraishi was trying to figure out how to win this battle, his shoulder was grabbed, and after an over-the-shoulder fall, his body turned upside down, and then his hands were locked behind him, and he could feel the soft part of Ruri sitting on his back, pressing him like this. Shiraishi opened his eyes, filled with humiliation, and was suppressed again. When will the traversers really stand up? Finally, Ruri helped the defeated Shiraishi to clean up the ground together. She is a tsunade, a girl with soft heart and sharp mouth. Actually, regardless of Ruri's slightly impersonal tone of voice, her personality is quite gentle, right? Perhaps. Chapter 19. The weekend is the collective holiday of the ninja school, and Ayane stayed in the Hyuga clan's place and didn't go anywhere. In the Hyuga clan, the residences of the branch family and the main family are separated. People from the main family seldom associate with the branch family. For the main family, the branch family only needs to honestly complete the tasks assigned to them. In this generation of Hyuga branch family members, Ayane is an exceptionally talented type. Not only the branch family, but the main family is also looking forward to her future. Whether it is as the guard of the clan, or as an excellent mother for the Hyuga clan to give birth to offspring, the fate seems to have been decided from the very beginning. Ayane, someone from the main family came here before, and they want you to be the maid who takes care of Lord Hiyashi's daily life. This is a great honor for you as a branch family. Looking at her mother's proud smile for having such an excellent daughter, Ayane just froze for a moment, then nodded obediently. She felt it was more of a threat and an order than a request. After all, as a member of the branch family, she is not qualified to bargain with the main family. When she witnessed several members of the separated family who rebelled against the clan and ended up being tortured by the curse of the caged bird, she had already considered what attitude she should use to face the clan. Lord Hiyashi is an excellent ninja. He is 14 years old this year, and he is already a well-known chunin in the village. Everyone says that he can become a jonin before he turns 20. Ayane sat kneeling on the cushion, her straight black hair draped over her shoulders, her silent white pupils, she couldn't see any excitement or joy, she just quietly listened to her mother's nagging words. Her mother is a more traditional woman, submissive. Perhaps because she has seen too much, the dissatisfaction with the clan in her heart has turned into awe and humbleness in the past 30 years. Branch family is not qualified to rebel against the main family. Branch family is born to dedicate everything, love, life, and dignity to the main family. Everything in the branch family is bestowed by the clan. After so many years of being influenced by such traditional thinking, her mother has turned into a tool to obey the orders of the clan. That's why Ayane never argues meaninglessly with her mother. Habits are a terrible thing. Ayane, don't resent the main family. They are thinking about the future of the Hyuga family. The white eyes of our family have always been coveted by outsiders. The bird in the cage is not a curse. This is done entirely to protect the white eyes from outsiders. One day, the rest of the branch family will understand this truth. I know, mother. Ayane does not dislike her mother, even though she has become a tool of the main family. Ayane does not agree that the bird cage is not a curse. Maybe the bird cage has a reason to protect the white eyes, but those ninjas who were cursed by the bird cage should be killed by their own people without a sound or dignity. What's wrong with them? Why doesn't the village care? Ayane doesn't believe that Hokage and other high-level officials don't know about this kind of thing. This kind of behavior of harming colleagues should be put in prison. Shiraishi is right, this village is twisted and boring. And we're all just part of this twisted, boring village, the humblest part. Ayane remembered what Shiraishi had said to her and felt this helpless cruelty and distortion more deeply than at that time. Therefore, every time Hokage personally hosts the opening ceremony to promote the will of fire, Ayane will feel that she is out of place with this village, strange and afraid. What is flowing in my body now is the blood that does not succumb to this fate. She wants to be the bird that flies freely in the sky. Instead of being locked in a birdcage by the main family, the flying bird with broken wings. One day, she will break free from the cage that binds her body and fly to the sky. Hyuga Hiyashi. This name is still very famous in the Hyuga clan. He is the young master of the Hyuga clan, a well-known genius chunin in Konoha Village at a young age. In this village, he is destined to become a big man who is admired by countless people. Ayane never thought that she would become this person's maid, and it happened to be the member of the clan she hated the most. However, considering that the guards of the main family have always been chosen from the branch family, it seems that this is also a reasonable thing. Lord Hiyashi, I am Hyuga Ayane who will be your maid from today on. Sitting in the corridor of the courtyard, a handsome young man with straight black and long hair looked at the pond in the courtyard with pure white pupils. After hearing the voice from the side, he slowly turned his head and glanced at this innocent girl with the same pure white pupils as himself. There was no emotional fluctuation in her eyes, but it would be wrong to say that there was no stagnant water. There was only a soft smile on her face, with a hint of sadness in the smile. Do you hate the main family? Hiyashi asked. Ayane was slightly taken aback, she didn't expect the other party to ask herself such a question. Yes. Lying will lead to suspicion, and sometimes being honest will make the other party relax. At least getting along will not be so hypocritical. Hiyashi nodded and started talking to himself. I hate it too, because of this rule. Hisashi hasn't smiled at me for many years, and some only have indifference and hostility. Hisashi is my favorite brother. We used to play together, laugh at each other, and fight for snacks regardless of identity. Really? Lord Hisashi is a gentle person. Ayane said with a smile. I'm not gentle at all, and I can't be gentle. 3 years ago, I had a competition with Hisashi. I lost on purpose. I wanted to impress the people of the main family. I didn't expect that after returning home, my father used the curse seal to make Hisashi cry on the ground in pain. My father told me that as the heir of the main family, we must always let the branch family remember our identity. Don't go beyond the class and be rude to the main family. Hisashi looked at the clear blue sky and let out a sigh of regret. Ayane fell silent after hearing this. Since then, I finally understand what the rules are. In the Hyuga clan with strict rules, the Hisashi. No, it's the branch family. Everything is arranged by the main family. You can't resist, you can't be free. Hisashi stood up from the corridor, then glanced at Ayane again. So, you should hate me and the main family. But you must remember not to show hostility or killing intent towards me, because I am the main family and the master of your branch family. If a bird in captivity glares at its master and displeases the master, it will lead to merciless death. He expresses exactly this kind of meaning. So, the so-called asking her to become a maid was an act of compulsion from the very beginning. I understand, I will pay attention to my own sense of proportion, Lord Hisashi. Seeing that Ayane is so knowledgeable, Hisashi nodded with satisfaction. Hisashi walked back into the house and took out a birdcage with a white flying bird inside. Ayane's expression was slightly unnatural when she saw this scene. Hisashi didn't care about Ayane's unnatural expression, and murmured in a low voice. Do you know? Only this birdcage has never been changed, but the birds in it have been changed 7 times. This is the 8th bird. I bought it for you today. Before that, the moment they flew out, I killed them. Lord Hisashi, why did you do this? Before you, there were 7 maids by my side. All of them were executed by my father for various reasons. Hisashi hung the birdcage outside. I hope you won't end up like this. This sentence seems to be addressed to the bird, but also seems to be addressed to Ayane. Chapter 20. Lord Hisashi. On the morning of school on Monday, just after dawn, around 6 o'clock, Ayane came over on time to wake Hisashi up. There was a slight sound in the room, and after a while, Hisashi came out of the room. He didn't look at Ayane, and walked past Ayane directly. For him, whether this maid can live to the end is an unknown question. For the main family, the lives of those who are separated are not that important. But only a few of the separated families will resist, and most of them are used to being ruled. And this habit will be firmly engraved in their bones and souls, and will be passed down from generation to generation. They rejoice with the joy of the family, or angry with the anger of the family, and mourn with the sorrow of the family. Ayane naturally understands Hiyashi's indifference, she just obeys the duty of a maid and follows Hisashi honestly. Around her, there must be many eyes watching her. She could feel it. In the dark corner, in the silent crevice, all her actions are being monitored. Being the maid of the young master of the Hyuga clan is not a happy thing. But this kind of attention called surveillance is not something Ayane can resist. Master Hisashi. Crossing through several houses, Ayane followed Hisashi all the time. When he was about to reach the training ground, a boy who was slightly younger than Hisashi came at the end of the corridor. The appearance is also very similar to Hisashi. After seeing Hisashi, he lowered his head and called out like this. No matter how he heard it, it sounded like he was gnashing his teeth, and his fists were clenched tightly. Hisashi, as a ninja, you have to restrain your emotions at all times. It's really ugly. You mustn't forget what your duty as a branch is. Hisashi stopped in his tracks, looked at Hisashi coldly, and scolded Hisashi in a stern tone as his elder brother. Yes. It seems that calmness has been restored, and the fist has been loosened, but Ayane knows the anger and dissatisfaction of this branch ninja, or hatred. Day-to-day difference. Is the boy's name. Hisashi is the same as the son of this Hyuga patriarch. The difference is that he was born a little later than Hisashi, so he is a separate family, and Hisashi is the main family. He will die for Hisashi, and all his ups and downs of honor and disgrace are no longer for himself, but for his brother Hisashi who was once the most respected and loved. What used to be respect and love, now only hostility and hatred remain. If he was not the son of the patriarch, he would have been taken to a corner where no one was around, and had been cursed to death, so blatantly showing his murderous intent to the next patriarch Hyuga. Sometimes, even the status of separation and separation are different. Meeting the day difference is just a small episode, and it is not something worthy of special attention for Ayane. When I came to the training ground, there was an excellent Jnin from the Hyuga clan, waiting for Hiyashi to go to do morning exercises. Because she is a maid, Ayane was allowed to stay here. After she was arranged as Hiyashi's maid, her status is also a little higher than that of ordinary branch members. The 8 trigrams 64 palms of the Hyuga clan trained by the Japanese foot, combined with the white eyes, are extremely powerful. Ayane did not learn all the 64 palms of the 8 trigrams, she only learned the 32 palms of the 8 trigrams. On the one hand, the people of the main family hope that the people of the branch family will be strong, and they don't want the people of the branch family to learn all the secrets of the Hyuga family. Because once a member of the branch family surpasses the main family in terms of unique skills, it will be very embarrassing to the main family. If the people of the main family lose face, the people of the separated family will definitely be punished. 8 trigrams 64 palms. If the person who is separated from the family performs well, he will be allowed to learn this move. However, there is an absolute defensive move called 8 trigrams palms, revolving heaven, which only members of the clan are eligible to learn. As Hiyashi's maid, there is actually not much to do, because Ayane has to go to school during the day, so in many cases, Ayane will not always be by Hiyashi's side. Hiyashi doesn't particularly care about this kind of thing. Ayane is just a member of the family who doesn't know when she will die, and never asks or cares about her. She, like the dead housemaids before, is just a dispensable tool by his side. This is how he was educated by his father, who was the patriarch. The main family is the root of the Hyuga clan, only the root is still there, and it doesn't matter whether the branches and leaves are withering or blooming. Konoha 32, October. Shiraishi also stayed in the number 1 medical ninja experimental class for half a year, and his grades were consistent. However, as the first batch of medical ninjas trained in the village, no matter how ordinary, the village still gave him a very generous subsidy. After graduating from the 6th grade, he will rush to the battlefield and work as a medical ninja on the front line. Just when Shiraishi was thinking so, a piece of news came back suddenly. The war is over. Yes, the war is over. Konoha wins, Rain Village loses. The leader of Rain Village, Hanzo of the Salamander, granted the 3 Konoha ninjas the title of Konoha Xining, and acknowledged Konoha's victory. Since then, the war between Rain Village and Konoha Ninja Village has ended for 3 or 4 years. The so-called Konoha Xining are the 3 Konoha Jonin, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade. The 3 of them are disciples of the 3rd Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. The 3 of them won the victory in the Kingdom of Rain battlefield for Konoha, adding honor. So, most people in the village were immersed in an atmosphere of joy. Shiraishi is also very happy. After graduation, he can finally participate in the ninja war without going to the battlefield. Xining brought a large number of Konoha ninjas back, and countless people waited eagerly at the entrance of the village. Shiraishi is also among the crowd who come to welcome them. At that time, he saw the so-called Konoha Xining. A man with a murderous look, feminine and handsome, with long black straight hair. A big-breasted ninja with light blonde hair and a big smile. Wait, why are there only 2 Xining? Shiraishi remembered that Konoha Xining was right, why only 2 people came back? What about one more person? Didn't he happen to die at the moment the war ended? Shiraishi couldn't help but guess like this. But at this time, people don't pay attention to why only 2 Xining came back. What they care about is the joy and ease after the war. Although I have to attend the funeral later. Great joy and great sorrow. This is the trivia after the war. Konoha Mausoleum Park. After the adults left, Shiraishi stayed here in black attire. The atmosphere of the funeral was bleak, but today the weather is fine, with a clear sky. Not every funeral day will be rainy or cloudy. Ruri was wearing black mourning clothes and long black hair. Standing in front of the tombstones engraved with the names of Uchiha clan ninjas, she carefully placed the white chrysanthemums in her hand in front of the monuments of the dead one by one to worship. In this war, according to Ruri, the Uchiha clan sacrificed a total of 3 high-level ninjas, 11 middle-level ninjas, and 9 low-level ninjas, and more than 10 people were seriously injured and disabled, unable to survive as ninjas. It's over. Shiraishi came over and said softly to Ruri. Ruri didn't have much sadness on her face, she was used to parting with her clan. Every year, the bodies of the clan members are transported back from the front line. She also saw the downfall and collapse of the disabled Uchiha ninja. Ruri put the last bouquet of white chrysanthemums away, and said in a low voice, "How can it end? There may be no reason for war, but there must be a purpose, and there must be benefits. As long as there are human beings, the war will never end. It seems that a new battlefield will come soon." So pessimistic. It can't be called pessimistic, because there is no so-called pessimism on Ruri's face, she is just stating the facts. Shiraishi was slightly taken aback, wanting to say something. "Don't worry, I'm not fragile enough to need comfort. Born in battle and died in battle, this is our Uchiha's fate." Ruri will not pray for peace for no reason. Compared to this kind of thing, how to improve one's own strength is the most meaningful thing at the moment. If one day Uchiha loses this strong belief in surviving in power, it may be the moment of extinction. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and most importantly subscribe. Also click on notification bell and set it on all.